I think the moment I ended up on a watch list for my writing, I was writing Saving Alice in college, and there's a torture scene, and I had heard about this book written by like a dictator's regime on torture, and was trying to find that. I think it was like a German sounding name, like Kruger. Well, not Kroger's. That's a grocery store.
That's a grocery store.
But
and
quite a nice one, I believe.
Were you looking for this in a grocery store?
No.
Okay. Raised several questions.
No, I did. I was able to find that like it did exist, but short of going on the deep web, I was not going to find it. So I feel like that, and I was also I feel like I'm probably fine with the weird JFK stuff. Like I can't. There's probably so many people. Researching that.
I'm pretty sure the entire American populace is on like the JFK weirdness list for one reason or another at this point. It's just too ingrained into our culture.
But I remember talking to somebody who was with the NSA, and like, so I do like a lot of weird research, and they're like, "Don't worry about it, you're fine."
But how did they know?
I don't know.
Did they have your file pulled up?
I was like, but I Google a lot of weird stuff, and they're like, "Don't worry about it."
We're already there.
So I don't know what that meant, but
no, it's almost a little bit disconcerting.
It's just like worse, yeah.
Yeah, it makes me a little bit nervous.
I'm like,
why shouldn't I worry?
You've already checked me out, and
why
decided.
Why are you so certain?
Well, I've told you that Belinda tells her friends because like they don't know me. They just they see little bits of me, and it's weird. The bits they see are weird and kind of creepy, and they don't know that it's normally just dry sense of humor. So when I'm not there and she's talking to them, and they're like, "Jack's kind of dark," and her response is typically, "Don't worry, they're incredibly morbid, but they can't stand to like slice kitchen meat. Like they get really squeamish around raw chicken."
It's true. Yeah, you're not a fan of raw chicken.
No.
Just
so
I'm glad we're not covering Thunder Force today.
Oh God.
I had one of my, when I was under my old manager, a new coworker had kind of joined us, and I found out, went to him and was like, "Is Matt okay? He says a lot of really weird thing." And they had to be like, "No, it's cool. We know him. It'll get dark, but, just take it in stride, and he's harmless."
I had an incident at work today, and I'm wondering if I've been really good about hiding how dark I am at work, and I wonder if that was a mistake. Maybe I should bring that part of me out a little bit, and they'll be like, "You know what? I'm just gonna leave that guy alone."
It could actually be a sound strategy.
I do slam my pills every morning in plain sight, intentionally. But
20 years ago, maybe it'd be like, leave the crazy guy alone. But nowadays, like that's no one's phased.
Look at him taking care of it. Good on him.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. That's self-care.
I do occasionally say, I was like, "Time to take my pills." Now,
you've undermined the entire exercise by saying it that way.
Matt, Toaster, you idiot. Why are you here? Why did you ask to be here? Don't tell me that.
Sorry. Okay.
So I need you to say, I'm going to type something in the chat, and then I need you to say it into your mic.
Okay.
So I was thinking about the way that we're opening these episodes, and like normally we just kind of bullshit, as we were already doing.
Yeah.
But I was like, what if we use the top as kind of like a brief, like, hey, here's what's happening with the festival and our short film. I think this is airing after our talk with Scott.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So it'll make some amount of sense.
It'll make sense when people actually listen to this.
Right.
Yeah.
So Toaster, we're doing Knifebreaker 3.
Ooh.
And there's a UFO that crashes at Pittsburgh Beach. And we need a bystander to kind of like point to the sky and say, "Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach."
That thing that exists.
Right.
You got three rivers. There has to be sand.
There is.
some places.
I wouldn't say it was a beach.
Not a beach worth of sand, but there's
the ground down molecules of rust washing ashore amid diapers and hair beetles.
That's that's exactly it.
You forgot the icy light bottles.
There's tons of icy light bottles and cans.
All right, so Matt, you've been cast as Bystander Toaster, and I need you to put on your acting hat for a moment. You're in a 1950s style B-movie horror film, and you suddenly stop what you're doing in the middle of it. I assume you are on the street corner playing Magic the Gathering, and I don't know what kids do. When you hear like a vroom over top of your head, and go ahead and say your line.
Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach.
Stretch it out a little bit, and it sounds like you've acted before.
I'm sorry.
Could you act less?
Too good.
Yeah.
Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach.
I like that. It's better.
Yeah.
No, it was good. Can you forget where emphasis goes?
Okay. Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach.
Ooh, too much the other direction.
I wasn't expecting a bad acting class today.
Yeah.
This is really fascinating.
They're the only ones I know.
Again, and let me hear it like you're trying to alert the people around you. They don't care, but you're trying.
Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach.
Let's get back to...
Hang on, I can do this like for fucking real. Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach. Like, did you guys hear that? There was just an explosion outside my window.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't hear that at all. Holy shit.
Okay, I think we're fine.
You are on the side of the state that's had multiple prison breaks lately.
Yeah.
Just the one noteworthy one.
There
were two. They caught the first guy right away.
Yeah. Well,
boy.
He did have time to get shoes and a gun, so not right away. All right, give me one more. I really liked your second read.
Oh, I wish I remembered that one.
It had some cheese on it, and it was like a little more bouncy.
Yeah.
Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach.
Good. I like this. Give me another one like that. A little more excited.
Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach.
Do that, and then come up on beach instead of coming down on it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're going beach. Beach?
Rude.
Beach.
All right. Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach.
Yes.
Beach?
Okay, that is the ballpark I want to be in. Give me that. But like better. You are living in the 1950s. In a 1950s family sitcom.
Just really put some Leave It to Beaver on that.
Don't cast me in anything. Contrary to whatever I ask, please just no. Look, it's crashing at Pittsburgh Beach.
Nailed it.
I love it.
All right.
That was good.
Hey.
It only took 10 minutes.
Welcome. This is going to be an incredible intro. Half-hour intro. Welcome to DeRazzled, the podcast that takes award-winning worst films and fixes them. I'm host Jack Culbertson. Here to suffer alongside me, as always, is also host Joe Nealis. Hi, Joe.
Good evening, everybody.
Today is sort of an alien hybrid of the things that we cover on DeRazzled. It's part DeRazzled Classic, but since it wasn't nominated for a Razzie, it would be closer to a Gold Star, but it's not nearly bad enough to attain that kind of ire. At least not with us.
Yeah.
It did have some pretty notable development hell, but I think the best way to describe today's genre is viewer request. Because we wouldn't be doing this unless it was a viewer request. We've been saying for 2 seasons that we'll take requests, and well,
we've done one. We did Mac and Me, which was a request.
Was that?
Yeah.
See that I forgot about that one because it does feel like a movie we would cover.
Does, yeah. But that one was requested. But this is the first time we've had somebody request it and then be on the episode for it.
Well, I'm not doing this by myself, Toaster. Okay. So our guest today, Matt, what pain hath thou wrought?
I said I was sorry.
What would you tell the audience what the movie is?
This week we will be exploring the 2016 absolute clusterfuffle of Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
Because it's spoopy season.
Yeah!
Yay!
I'm wearing boxers with bats on them.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I am wearing pants. Okay.
You had to think about it for a second.
I wasn't sure. It's been a long day. It's like my third energy drink. I'm going to crash real hard in Act 2.
Yeah.
Who all saw this in theaters?
I just barely missed theaters.
Okay.
I did rent it as soon as it was available in a red box, though.
I caught it in theaters and have not thought about it since.
Good call.
I didn't. So the first time you watched it, Toaster, what was your initial impression?
So even before that, I remember I was in. It's back when I had a job where I traveled a lot. We had the company van. We're at a grocery store. I get the notification that the new Ghostbusters trailer has just dropped. There has been word that there were behind-the-scenes issues and, there was already a little bit of that, four ladies, brr. But I was determined as a lifelong Ghostbusters fan and as somebody who doesn't want to be a big bag of dicks to be like, I've got hope. So I pulled it up on my phone and we sat in our van and we watched this. And I don't know if in your research you watched the trailer at all, but at the end I got nothing. Well, they're good on SNL. You saw Bridesmaids. That was I'm sure it's a trailer. Well, they just didn't put the best stuff in the trailer. And then it was a long slog to the actual release, July 15th, where so close to my birthday too, where I was so excited because I'm like, ooh, this is my treat. And it was not. As a 30-year-old man, my now wife threw me a Ghostbusters themed birthday party. Because she thought it was funny.
I mean, it's pretty good. That sounds like a good time to me.
I
have been admiring this entire time the original Ghostbusters style suit hanging on the door behind you.
I'd like to say I hung that for this.
I honestly thought you had.
I did.
Okay. All right.
So I did break it out over the weekend. Okay, so I broke it out a few weeks ago. Kevin Smith did a thing, and he's last minute, it's costume contest. And it's there's one I have that I know is decent. I get there. I was the second best Ghostbuster.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. The dude showed up. He had the slime blower, a homemade whole PVC setup. And I'm like, well, F me. And he still got third place.
No shit.
Then a Mandalorian, I think, took first.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
So much like you, I also didn't want to be a bag of dicks. This movie, when it first was announced that the cast was going to be 4 women, the internet did what the internet do and threw a shit fit.
Yeah, they sure did.
And I remember I'm like, okay, well, I'll wait till the trailer to see how this is going. But I'm like, please don't suck. Please don't prove these people right.
Yeah.
And I vaguely remember the trailer. I don't remember the details, but I'm like, oh. And I also was like, maybe it'll, maybe they just need to polish it up a little bit. And they're trying to figure out the tone still. When I did see it in theaters, I saw it with my partner at the time. And while I didn't hate the movie, it was just a movie. Yeah. Honestly, my opinion of it hasn't changed much since watching it again for this episode. But watching her enjoy the movie, I'm like, all right. Same thing kind of with Wonder Woman, which came out around the same time. I didn't love or hate the movie, but watching the reaction of the people around me who were like, there's a lady on the screen being the hero and not just the love interest. This is awesome. All right. Nice.
Seeing those reactions is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we've been talking about this movie now for a minute, but what actually happens in this movie? Well, I'm glad no one asked. 'Cause we're going to play a little game called Pavlovian Horses.
So glad I get to be here for this one.
Instead of providing a highly descriptive summary full of quips, we're playing a game called Pavlovian Horses, wherein I'll have 5 minutes to summarize the movie and not a second more. When the timer hits 5 minutes, Joe will blast me with horse sounds. Horses. I thought I was going to retire this bit for season 3, but then I found out that horses are born with misshapen tentacle bone hooves, and my terror has been born anew. That's not a joke. I've seen pictures of it, and now I can never forget it.
Tentacle? You use the word tentacle.
Uh-huh.
It's
Can you elaborate on that?
No.
Like they're like this.
Because I know that
thingies.
Because I know their legs kind of terminate into like fingers, basically, and that's already monstrous enough. But like tentacle,
they're kind of tentacly. I mean, they don't like writhe because they're bone, but anyway,
I don't like it.
No, I was genuinely like, this bit's getting old, and then I saw a picture of that on TikTok, and
then you screamed.
I was like, why, God? There's just like images that I've seen in my life. Like true crime images where I'm like, that wasn't that bad. A person completely eviscerated, I'm like, that was a human at one point, but seeing a newborn horse's tentacle hooves. Give me the raw chicken, please.
That's a new horse too. It could grow to come for you.
Yeah.
Like an old horse, that's it. Like it's glue. A new horse, it has nothing but life ahead of it to come find you.
And the evolutionary purpose for this stupid thing is so that when it's born, because it's born with these hooves pre-made, is so that the hoof doesn't like shred the mother's innards as it's coming out. But I guess this is better? Sharp tentacle hooves? Anyway, before we get into this, Joe's going to tell you to remind you to remember things.
Oh, yes. If you haven't remembered, you should remember to go and rate and review our show everywhere you possibly can to help other people get our stupid noises in their ear holes. You can do that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Great. Oh, God damn it. All I see are those hooves.
I'm
chasing after me.
Weird dreams tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Are you ready, Jack?
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Something that I want you all to keep in mind while we cover this movie is the writing concept of but and therefore. This is a pretty well-known writer's lesson, but is one that people neglect all the goddamn time. Troy Parker and Matt Stone of South Park fame are the ones that sum it up the best, I feel. Quote, but and therefore, in a story, you have scenes, and then you break those scenes down into beats. Say Slimer opens the fridge to grab an Ecto Cooler. Beat. But they haven't released original recipe Ecto Cooler since like 1994. Conflict and beat. Therefore, Slimer grabs a gallon of whole milk, drinking that instead. But...
in character, yeah.
Milk coagulates when mixed with ectoplasm. That's a fact. Therefore, curdling Slimer's innards and causing him to spend the afternoon scooping out the curds with a fishbowl net, therefore missing his divorce hearings. But and therefore, cause and effect. The opposite of this is the much less enjoyable and then. Slimer opened the fridge, and then drank the milk, and then made a mess, and then missed his court date. More or less the same story. The thing missing is conflict. Ghostbusters 2016 is a script riddled with and thens. So, will I be providing you with a summary of this movie? No. What did I just say? You insult me. But plot author at IMDb, Nick Reganis,
we'll say Reganis.
Either pronunciation is good.
Has done their best. Here we are. After a botched attempt to hide her eclectic past and radical ideas about the supernatural, Columbia University's ridiculed physicist Erin Gilbert now finds herself jobless. And as if that weren't enough, Erin must swallow her pride and bury the hatchet with dishonored former partner Abby Yates. But to pay the bills and prove that ghosts exist, the unrepentant duo of spirit hunters, will need all the help they can get. As a result, tech expert Jillian Holtzman and inexperienced Patty Tolan, which is a terrible way to describe that character, whatever, join the cause, eager to comb New York City for evidence of paranormal activity. However, the team is unaware that trouble is brewing. That's conflict, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Once more, the unsuspecting Big Apple is in danger. Will the Ghostbusters live up to their reputation? What reputation? This is the first time.
This is the first time we've seen them. What do you mean?
Honestly, it kind of sounds like what ChatGPT would describe.
I have so many issues with this summary. What?
Anyway, Nick left out like all the cameos and plot threads that don't go anywhere. But that's more or less it. I do want to make sure that we mention the villain is an incel who wants to destroy the barrier between the human world and the spirit world, releasing all the man ghosts, which you only find out in the extended cut. They're specifically man ghosts.
They are specifically man ghosts. Yeah, that's true.
So that I don't actually know if they ever explain why he wants this, but
because he was made fun of.
He was made fun of.
He got bullied real bad.
Yeah. And he will eventually get disco powers. The end.
All right. There was never any issue with horses getting involved with this episode, so there we go. You had 4 minutes 17 left.
Okay, and are we missing that the very first ghost we do see is a woman?
True.
Well, fuck. What is the character's name? Rowan.
Yeah,
Rowan
is the incel.
yeah.
Rowan. Yeah.
Rowan does say most ghosts are male anyway.
Okay.
So not all. They made sure to cover the plot is, or the script is iron tight.
Yes. Out of those 4 hours, they plucked the best.
Yes.
Only the
that.
Oh my God.
I had to pick my jaw up off the floor whenever I read that 4-hour tidbit.
Wait, there's a 4-hour cut?
Oh yeah. The original cut of this movie was 4 hours long, which Paul Feig managed to trim down to a nice slim tight 3.5. To which he was obviously told no.
Paul, you're not even trying.
We know he wasn't trying.
Who do you think you are, bud? Like, they wouldn't let Kubrick do that. They're not gonna let Paul Feig do it.
I'm morbidly curious what that cut is like, though. Just
no, like don't Snyder cut me.
No, only because like, they added 17 minutes back in for the extended cut, and it does improve the movie a little bit.
I will agree. It did add more character.
Yeah,
which was needed.
It was needed. Yeah.
I have to assume that you said 4.5 or just 4.
It was 3.5 after it was originally 4.
Jesus Christ. I have to assume that it just includes all the riffing between the actors.
It's probably a lot of Melissa McCarthy riffing, probably a lot of Kristen Wiig dancing, probably a lot of dancing in general, because even the extended cut does add more dancing.
Not only that, so on the Blu-ray, they have, what was it? Because I have so many. So, am I allowed to swear on the internet? Can I swear on the internet? Because I took so many fucking notes.
I think we've sworn several times this episode already. I think you're good, man.
I didn't even bring up the Cumble.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it. You were doing so well, Jack.
Shit.
What was it? It was like, it's after the gag reel. It's called, like, Plot of Jokes, or All the Jokes. Pick a joke. It is excruciating. Essentially, like, so alright, there's a behind the scenes clip of Paul Feig directing Spy, where it's him and Jason Statham. Essentially, you've got Jason Statham, this very kind of stern, stoic, and
he takes
Paul
himself
Feig,
very seriously.
Yeah. And it's funny because Paul Feig is just feeding him little ridiculous lines to pitch to McCarthy or whoever happens to be in the room. It's like, try this, try that. Oh, horse hooves. Oh, look at the pink scarf. Hey, look at that. Now pretend you have a captain's hat. Like, just no bad decision, which is clearly a direction he loves. Yeah. And he will just do that again and again and again and let people riff forever. And I will assume that's how you get a 4-hour cut. There was if you watch that little like bag of jokes or whatever, the Benny, the Chinese delivery guy, clearly has a thing for Kristen Wiig's character.
Oh, that's not even present in any of what we see in either cut.
No, every single one. That dude from Deadpool wants Kristen Wiig so bad.
Oh, everything. He is Dopinder, isn't he? Oh, yeah. Holy shit.
I didn't write down any quotes, but there's one where it's, oh, hey, he's delivering, he's like, oh, hey, where's the bathroom? You know, while I'm here, where's the bathroom? It's downstairs in the Chinese restaurant. Oh, will you help me? I was like,
That's really funny. That's really funny. The interesting thing what I found interesting out of what you said was that Paul Feig is the one throwing, kind of side coaching them with terrible ideas. I just assumed they just were naturally bad ideas, not that he was giving it to them.
Yeah, no, it was just, like I said, the spy deleted scene, or like the blooper reel, because everyone loves wasting film and hard drive space. He just sat there and peppered lines he was coming up with, and it shows.
You'd think that would be more of like a pre-production thing, where they would be doing that to like build a rapport between the performers so you can get like the best stuff on the day, right?
So I think Feig was given so much leeway and such a long leash because he had proven himself with Spy and The Heat, and was very tight with Amy Pascal, who was heading Sony Pictures at the time.
That'll help. Yeah, yep. that definitely plays a role then.
Would somebody who's not me explain to the audience who Amy Pascal is and why I should care?
Amy Pascal is was, I'm not sure if she's still with Sony, but she for a long time has been one of the big creative executives at Sony Pictures. She's largely responsible for Adam Sandler's run of films. And apparently Paul Feig as well.
I think she also had a hand in some of I think she was one of the people that got called out during the email leaks.
I believe so, and I'm pretty sure that we've talked about that briefly in a couple of episodes. Okay. Yeah, because Amy Pascal has been mentioned on the show a few times.
All right, well,
did you discuss her having to apologize in 2015 for those leaks for her racially insensitive comments towards President Obama?
No! What? I wasn't even aware of this. Holy shit!
Okay, so I have. If you're ever interested, Deadline has an amazing day-by-day breakdown of the Sony leak. It was published back in 2015. I went through all of it and I pulled a couple little snippets out.
Matt, you did more work than we ever do.
Okay, so and this is, you asked before why I wanted this movie, because this flick has haunted me since 26, well before it came out, because this is something I've wanted my entire life. I was born 2 years after the first. I was raised with Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, and Ghostbusters 2. I'm
going to pause you real quick. We are going to get into the development hell of this in the second part, but I do want to hear about the Deadline stuff.
All right, so, and Sony and Deadline have a very intermixed relationship, so I assume a lot of the writing in this is a little,
biased, petty.
A little bit, yeah.
Sexy.
Let's see. It starts with Rudin. He had to apologize for the racially insensitive marks. Trickles down after, Pascal broke her silence on Thursday, December 11th, apologizes for racially insensitive remarks. It was in an unguarded moment in a private email, which screams to me you know how it was the Kramer thing where it's I was drunk, you've all seen me black out. At no point have I ever been
I'm just gonna start shouting the N-word.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't want to talk about it before. I didn't want to make that. Sorry, quote. Didn't want to talk about this before. I didn't want to make this about me. Everyone at the company has been violated, and nobody here deserves this. Then the most hurtful email came out. I'm so disappointed in myself that I would ever had such a lapse in my thinking. Of all the things I thought might be said about me, this was the last one, and I feel awful. Just cementing that I'm not sorry I said it. I'm really sorry you saw me say it.
Wait, did she actually say that last part?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
that was
okay.
I was
sorry. The way you read that,
medium.
it felt like it just kind of flowed right in, like from one thing to the next. There, like it's
quote,
absolutely like I'm sorry I got caught.
It ended at I feel awful.
I mean, you should. Like she should feel bad, but also like don't have done that.
The people in charge of things are kind of shitty, guys.
And dumb, apparently.
And dumb, yeah. Remember that time we were talking about ChatGPT and how Studio Heads suck, and then we asked ChatGPT, hey, what should we do to fix the writer's strike? And it was basically like,
get rid of executives.
Get rid of executives. Comrade GPT was just like, yeah, you seize the means of production.
It kind of did,
yeah.
You'll be happy to know Pascal is no longer with Sony.
Oh, okay.
She's moved on to a little company called Universal.
Piss.
Yeah, that tracks. You only fail upwards once you reach a certain.
Ain't that the
tier.
fucking truth?
Yeah. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the stats. And I did find one or two awards.
Interesting.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, welcome back to DeRazzled. We are going to talk about some stats. Do either of you know the ratings for these off the top of your head?
I did not.
All right, Toaster, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I did not have a chance to look them up. I wish I had had more time to dig into some of the background on this film. But yeah, I just did not have that much time beyond watching it.
The recording schedule for this season has been a little
bonkers. Bit of a clusterfuck to get started, but we're okay.
Honestly, so this is the first regular episode that we're recording, and I'm kind of glad.
Me too. This is a nice way to get back to the swing of it.
Because I also grew up with the Ghostbusters, so I feel a little more comfortable talking about this than I do our first aired episode, which is the Love Guru and Mike Myers.
What's fun is we'll be able to tease this episode in that episode because my mom will love to talk about me as a 3-year-old watching Ghostbusters.
I'm hoping we just talk about that, not Love Guru.
Would you Would you like an embarrassing Ghostbusters fact about me?
Not yet.
Okay,
not yet.
Absolutely, but not yet. Joe, general Rotten Tomato score. Okay, I do want to say, I think I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say that the scores were lower until the extended cut came out.
I'm not surprised by that.
That would be my guess.
Plus, I'm sure this suffered from like some review bombing, some early review bombing nonsense. Let's see, for that tomato meter, I'm thinking before the extended cut, I probably would have guessed like a 35.
Yeah, probably pretty low.
Currently, I'm going to guess closer to like a 48. Am I being generous?
We're talking about the general Rotten Tomato score?
Yeah, like the tomato meter, not the audience score.
Way too low.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. 74.
Oh, yeah, maybe I am thinking, maybe I'm getting confused. I'm thinking audience. 74 for the critic score, really?
That is... It's so absurd that I want to double check. Hey, Toaster, would you check to make sure the general Rotten Tomato score is not 74? God damn it.
It's just on it.
All right, what's the audience score?
Audience score, I'm going to guess, is like a 48.
49.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
IMDb out of 10.
This is... I mean, given we just had that whole expose that come out about why Rotten Tomato scores are fucky, but like IMDb scores are weird. They are genuinely a strange beast.
They are, but I normally agree with them.
Sometimes.
I do not agree with this one.
So I'm guessing it's like really high then. Is that?
It's a little higher than I would think.
A little higher than you would like. It's an 8, isn't it?
No, it's not that good. It's a 6.8 out of 10.
6.8. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, see, it's hard for me to gauge with IMDb anymore because, like, toward like the back half of season 2, we got all these like bonkers, absurd IMDb scores. It's like, what are you guys smoking? What's happening over there?
It's kind of like other people's opinion shouldn't really matter. Just watch the movie and enjoy it or don't enjoy it.
Huh?
Yeah,
so
weird.
So art works. Okay.
Anyway, I would not go that far with this film. So this movie came out in 2016. It did not receive any Razzies, any Razzie noms, like nothing.
Which is interesting. I'm trying to think what I'm gonna have to look up what all was nominated that year. But
would you like to know? Because I already have it pulled up. I'm sorry. I knew most of this offhand. I just did it to check myself.
Outstanding.
So before you do, I want to say that the internet, those boys were sure angry that it didn't get nominated for anything. It did get nominated for a different award, but Toaster, what did get nominated for Razzies that year? 2016.
Okay. 2016. I would say this movie could be up for any number of them, to be honest, and if it weren't for such a tremendously bad box office offering, like, it would have been up there. It could have been bad sequel, bad reboot, bad script, worst picture, all that. However, it was up against gems like Zoolander 2.
Yeah. Oh, buddy.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows. Not even the first one, the second one.
The second Michael Bay one, if I'm not
The second,
right?
Yep, yeah. Where Raphael, like, I think that's the one where, like, they sneak above a basketball game in Madison Square Garden and, like, drop a piece of pizza, and then somebody flies a tank.
Man, I'm really glad I stopped at Ninja Turtles 3.
I will go to bat for TMNT, the computer animated one from, like, 2003. Anyway, the marketing masterpiece, Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one that the director's cut was so bad, DC went to the marketing company who made that first trailer and was like, you give it a shot.
Yeah. David Ayers still wants the director's cut.
He still wants to release a director's cut, yeah.
And he deserves
a
terrible director.
But
they let Snyder do his. Just like I guess, like fuck it. Who cares
like
at this point?
If you have two kids, you can't give one the director's cut and not the other one.
Yeah, it's just bad parenting.
Yeah. You hear that, Warner Brothers?
You hear that, David?
They do listen, because I've got things to... what was it? Snowden was that year. Shut In, Mother's Day. All just those mid-tier at best. London Has Fallen, which I think was the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen.
I believe you're correct, yes.
All right. Independence Day, Resurgence.
Okay, so Ghostbusters had a lot of competition.
Oh, you're leaving out some gems, though.
I'm not even halfway through.
Please continue.
Do you want me to let you know who took the gold for all the Razzie garbage? I'll save that for last. Let's see. We had, and our friend Nate cannot wait for you to do Gods of Egypt. Or no, wait.
God, I really don't want to do that.
No, we just talked about it. We've done that. You've done that.
No, we haven't done. We have not done Gods of Egypt yet.
Nope, but it is.
We did The Mummy 2017.
Yes.
But
okay.
Yeah, we will probably end up doing Gods of Egypt at some point. Mostly because the only Gerard Butler film we've talked about on the show thus far has been Gamer. That can't stand.
So we made this season schedule quite a while ago.
Yes.
And I know at one point that movie was on the schedule. Is it
was.
still? I can't remember.
I can't either.
So, yeah, we might be doing it. Who knows?
I'd recommend it, and Nate hates that movie. So have him on. 50 Shades of Black was up for it.
Right.
The Divergent series, Allegiant. I don't remember if that was a second, third, or if they made it to a third.
I want to say that's the second one. I forget. It's one of those series based off a bunch of YA novels that like don't actually work very well, but got super popular because of the Hunger Games.
Yep. It's going to be one of those, and I think this is probably something we'll touch on later. This is when everybody wanted a franchise.
Yes.
We're in that era now.
So the winner of Best Picture that year was Spotlight, just to, balance things out.
Okay. No, I appreciate
nice.
knowing that. I did love that movie.
And just rolling through a couple now. Dirty Grandpa, Collateral Beauty, Boo a Medea Halloween. The last three are big. Alice Through the Looking Glass. If you guys saw that one, it was...
Which
I saw the first one and I was good.
You're good.
That was enough. Yeah. I did not need more Johnny Depp Mad Hatter.
No.
You could have stopped at the animated one and been just fine.
Yeah, honestly.
Of course, BVS, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right, give me the one that took all the awards.
Ooh, baby. You're all familiar with Dinesh D'Souza.
Sadly. No, Jack, I'm glad that you had that response, and also I'm sorry.
Hillary's America, the secret
God
history
damn it.
of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, this is one of those movies we're never going to cover on the show because after we did Saving Christmas, we were like, no, we're not doing...
We are only doing narrative scripted.
We're not doing propaganda.
I will say, it is the first documentary to ever win Worst Picture.
That's wild.
Well, look at that. So
So now you
unfortunately,
can see
Ghostbusters.
why.
Unfortunately, 2016's Ghostbusters was snubbed, but the Alliance of Women Film Journalists didn't let that slide.
Interesting.
They have a special mentions. They do have like serious awards,
Sure.
but they also have some special mentions, such as actress most in need of a new agent.
Oh no. Is it Kristen Wiig?
So they also got snubbed at the Alliance of Women's Film Journalists. They were nominated, but it was actually Jennifer Aniston who won that award for Mother's Day and Office Christmas Party. Melissa McCarthy was nominated for The Boss and Ghostbusters.
I do want to throw...
The Boss came out too. Jesus.
Kristen Wiig has a Razzie for Zoolander 2.
Okay, so she didn't...
she didn't get out unscathed.
No.
And then the other one that they nominated Ghostbusters for was Sequel or Remake That Shouldn't Have Been Made award. Ben-Hur won, which is a movie I didn't even know existed.
Oh, I forgot there was a remake of Ben-Hur that year. Oh my god.
As a palate cleanser, before we get into the critique, Toaster, if you would like to provide us with a delightful childhood story of you enjoying Ghostbusters.
Oh god. So it's lost somewhere. It was given away in a bunch of tapes. I don't know who has it. But in my burgeoning, I want to do filmy acty stuff, there is definitely 8mm of little me filming car chases around the house with my Ecto-1.
Hell yeah.
I was so proud. I did the scoop shot down below, an aerial helicopter following, but one hand with the camera, one hand with the Ecto-1, and I'm just trying to get the, down into that first person angle. All I needed was a budget. Parents said no.
That's fun. I like that.
When I would watch, one of my first childhood nightmares was not from Ghostbusters 1, but Ghostbusters 2, with the bathtub that tries to eat Oscar.
Oh,
scared the shit out of me.
The pink goop.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have any context because I was playing upstairs at one of my cousin's houses.
Oh, this just happened to be on.
And it was they were watching it downstairs. I came downstairs and just saw this bathtub try to eat the child, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Yeah, that. And whenever I was a little older and knew what Ghostbusters were, I would watch the movie with the ghost trap set up. And whenever they would catch a ghost, I would catch it with them.
Stomp on the little pedal guy, and oh, I love it.
That's adorable.
We'll probably have already mentioned this a couple weeks ago when we talked to my mom, but when I was 2 or whatever, I'd be walking around without in my underpants, dancing around, singing along to the theme song. Except I wasn't good at making words just yet, so I couldn't say who you gonna call. I would say who you gonna hee-haw.
That's adorable. So I want to leave you with this thought before we cut to break or to cut to commercial. We are all to blame for the Ghostbusters sucking.
All of us,
each of us, each one of us.
What did I do?
You hee-hawed.
Oh,
Toaster shot toy short films, and I did the trappy thing.
You did the trappy thing.
The children's ruined Ghostbusters. All right, be back after break. Hey, welcome back. It occurs to me, Joe pointed out that I left this on kind of a cliffhanger that I'm not going to answer till the second episode.
Damn
so shit. Sorry, guys. Tune in next Tuesday for the reason why kids suck. But right now, we're going to critique the movie.
Let's critique the movie.
Let's critique this movie. I do want to know, like, your initial impression of this movie. Like, the first time watching it was what? In, like, short blurb.
I didn't hate it, but I also didn't think it was good.
Okay. I thought it was a shameless franchise cash-in on nostalgia, but not horribly done, but also not good.
See, I hadn't hit my point of like, okay, I'm sick of this nostalgia bullshit. Like you're milking our childhoods point just yet.
Okay.
But this was symptomatic of that.
Yeah. Toaster?
I begrudgingly laughed in the face of nostalgia. Like, I could see what they were doing, but every once in a while, one of those actresses would throw out a line and I'd lose it. I laughed out loud. My wife heard me, like, a story away. Like, I was in the basement, she was upstairs. When
This was your initial impression?
I'm sorry. Nope, that was a lie. My initial was... Sorry. Again, like 3 times this week, my brain is fried.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, initial was... It's not what I wanted, but I got something finally.
Understandable, yeah.
Wonderful. So let's talk about the cast and who worked for you from the cast. Just want to name the obvious one on top.
What, Channing Tatum?
What?
No, sorry. Wrong person. Chris Hemsworth.
Which cut did you watch?
Wrong person entirely. I don't know what my brain just did. Chris Hemsworth. Sorry.
Yeah, tomato.
Sorry, potato, tomato.
Yeah, potato, tomato.
I was thinking Kate McKinnon, but yeah, also Chris Hemsworth.
You almost
I caught myself.
I absolutely agree. I love Kate McKinnon in everything. So I just always want more Kate McKinnon.
I liked her when I watched it in theaters. I think the only time I really laughed rewatching it was when she did a thing, and I laughed like an idiot. It's like manic, crazy child. I'm glad that nobody else was in the house because it was like crazy laughter, silence for 20 minutes, and then crazy laughter again.
Well, just think, if you do that during the 4-hour cut, you're going to get more laughs. Like, it's going to be spaced out even.
She was the one actor who was in the scene the entire time, right? So like everyone else was kind of like waiting for their time to say the funny thing or like trying to get their funny thing in. But when she honestly, she kind of stole the scenes because she was in character the entire time, even when she wasn't doing anything. Like whenever we were like focusing on Melissa McCarthy or Kristen Wiig, you had her in the background being a fucking weirdo, completely in character. I'm like, this is great. Like she is that weird ass. She's Holtzman.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else, I'm like, okay, you're Melissa McCarthy doing Melissa McCarthy jokes. Cool.
Honestly, I didn't hate Melissa McCarthy in this. I think this is one of those examples where like Melissa McCarthy is kind of at her best when she has a character that has some kind of actual heart or focus to it. And whereas as we've covered previously, her characters when she's directed by her husband are usually lacking this to a significant degree. Or it's kind of or that's established but also gets like thrown out the window for just the worst jokes. For this though, I felt like she definitely didn't hit the mark frequently, but like she was on for at least like a few moments. Like there was some real earnestness in some of her interactions, particularly with Kristen Wiig. I think the backstory dynamic between those two characters, I think, brings out some good from both of them.
I do have that under the story.
Okay,
that worked for me.
I think they've also had a production history as well. They've worked together before, and the two of them like being paired together again. I think really helped add, especially McCarthy, like you said, like she nails the heart of that character better than anyone else, and I kind of would have liked to have seen more of her throughout.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a theory out there.
Okay.
Regarding Melissa McCarthy, specifically her humor, because I do agree, I think she nails the stuff that's her character earnestly reacting to what's the character's name? Kristen Wiig's character?
Aaron Gilbert.
Yeah. This might get me shot. Melissa McCarthy has Ryan Reynolds syndrome. So
no, I think that's a fair statement. Honestly, I think she leans on her improv quite a bit.
Well, so I'm getting to the point where I'm exhausted with Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds. He's got a shtick. He's had a shtick his entire. I remember watching him on like Two Guys, a Girl, on a Pizza Place. It's the same shtick. It's good shtick, but it's been like 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think he still has some projects where it does work well, but then you have Red Notice.
Well, here's my theory. He's doing his thing, right? He's doing his thing. When they're like, "Hey, Ryan, do your thing," he does the thing. The editor then tries to make sense of the thing.
Yeah, because you can't just leave it all on everything he puts out on the performance in there. Like, you have to try and pare that down somehow.
So you're trying to find the best bits.
Cut.
That's how you get the 4-hour cut. Exactly.
So you're trying to pick the best bits, but you're also trying to like service the story and the other actors, blah, blah, blah. I think that's why when Melissa McCarthy works with her husband, he doesn't have quite the eye to say like, oh, my wife kind of sucked in this scene. It's like, it was all good because I'm madly in love with this woman, which is great for your marriage, but also
I love their relationship. Yeah. I don't want them to make movies together.
Correct. And I think that sometimes Ryan Reynolds is able to throw around his weight, or if it's a movie that they're just like, you're just great, Ryan. We just love everything you're doing. They kind of suck. So like, I don't think he's garbage, but I think you need to have other stronger elements than just him being a funny person for it to work. And the same thing with her is I'm kind of over her style of humor at this point, but if I did like her humor, you need to have a strong story, strong director, strong editor.
Fair.
Her shtick is one thing. If you get the chance to watch St. Vincent's, another Bill Murray, Melissa McCarthy, and a kid movie, like she really shines in that.
Because she's done dramatic roles. I just haven't seen them.
Yeah.
That's one of them. And she nails it. She does a phenomenal job. She brings so much just pathos and like love to the character, and her acting skills are definitely there. It was actually during that movie, I think, when she was able to talk to Bill Murray and kind of coax him into coming to cameo to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know I've talked a lot about deleted scenes and whatnot. When I had lived with Figgles for a few months, and he had shown me a deleted scene of making a martini. You're welcome. And I'm pretty sure this was the movie where there's a scene of her sitting with the principal talking about like her somewhat delinquent son, and she is both like heartfelt and just hilarious.
This is 40, if I'm not mistaken, because I think there's a movie. Or are you talking about St. Vincent's where this happens?
I thought I was thinking about St. Vincent, but this was also 11 years ago I watched it. So there is I think it's This Is 40, where she is getting into an argument with Leslie Mann over her delinquent son in a principal's office, and like Paul Rudd's trying to keep the peace, but she is just saying more and more inflammatory, offensive shit as the parent of this delinquent son, and and just riffs forever about how she's going to maim Leslie Mann. To the point where there is like a credit roll blooper reel of her doing this more. And you just hear people dying in the background. Just like she just keeps churning out new improv lines that are like more shocking and worse than the last ones. Yep, you got it. It was This Is 40. I'm sorry. But if you do watch St. Vincent, also really good.
I'm going to check that out.
So you bring up Bill Murray. I'd like to address the cameos. I didn't like him.
Nope.
Thoughts?
I didn't like the Bill Murray. I didn't like the use of Bill Murray. Mm-hmm. I didn't like. I think they should have done something a little bit more significant with Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, actually, that was the one I was like, kind of like Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, because
I'm just glad it wasn't. Yeah. I'm just glad it wasn't Arsenio Hall. Like, I'm glad they got Ernie Hudson.
Yes, I'm glad they really got him. Yeah, I just wish I would have liked to see like a moment more with him because he's only there for like the very last second of the film. Sigourney Weaver thrown in as like a credit, like a mid-credit cameo is like kind of meh.
I do like the character they gave her.
I did like the character they gave her,
but it is kind of like thrown in at the last minute. Yeah.
The idea of her being Holtzman's mentor is very fun. I do like that. I liked Annie Potts, because it was a little like samey to her role from the originals, but like sure, you're doing a little callback thing. That's fine. You've already done a little bit of that through Chris Hemsworth as it is. Why not keep it rolling with Annie Potts proper? I actually laughed at Dan Aykroyd's though because because I'm reading that not as Dan Aykroyd making a cameo appearance, just in this universe. That's actually Dan Aykroyd.
That's current day Dan Aykroyd, hawking his vodka and
talking about fucking supernatural shit. Because he makes that offhanded comment about Class 5 vapors like roaming the city, and it's just like, no, that's just Dan Aykroyd. He's not playing a cab driver. He's playing himself as a cab driver. That's it.
He just has a cab.
He just has a cab. That's it.
Well, okay, you kind of turn me around on Dan Aykroyd cameo.
That is the best take I've heard of any of these cameos yet. That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Also, not far off. That is kind of Dan Aykroyd.
It is.
In Afterlife, Aykroyd was when he came back as Stans. Originally, the character was written that he had also kind of gone off the deep end, and that's why some of the way he's played through that is not very consistent. They went back, they did reshoots with like the phone call and whatnot, because by the time they got to the end, when he was there on set, his character was supposed to have gone a little nutty as well. And when they're like, well, no, maybe we can kind of work with this, grow it, this turned into a really good movie, let's flush the characters out for something we can continue to work with. That's why that character kind of came around. Just the character in Afterlife was a little inconsistent.
See, I still haven't seen Afterlife, so I haven't seen, and I've seen the trailer multiple times, so I've not actually seen the movie proper yet.
It's a wonderful palate cleanser for this.
Yes,
I'll have to pick up a copy.
It's also not the first time that they threw around the idea of Ray going a little crazy.
He would be the one that does, though, right? Yeah. Like he just like one night he spent a little bit too much time with Tobin's spirit guide and a bottle of Crystal Head vodka. It's just.
In the second part of this episode, we'll cover some of the unused scripts for Ghostbusters.
Nice.
And in I think one or two of them, his raid goes a little off the deep end.
Little cuckoo bananas.
I really enjoyed Neil Casey as Rowan.
He was an effective little incel twerp of a villain. Yeah.
I think he balanced
Before we get too far off the cameos, we're missing the big one, Murray.
Do we have to?
Here's the thing, and this is going to be my take on why I actually liked it. It is a very nice kind of reference to the fact that Bill Murray would not look at a Ghostbusters script for 15 years. He had no interest in returning. So much so that, and again, we'll get into this next episode, Sony was getting ready to sue him to come back. That.
Oh, fuck.
A lot came out in those emails.
I assumed it was a Harrison Ford Star Wars Episode 7 thing where he was like, kill me and I'll come back.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. Originally, he said, I will come back if you kill me in the first reel. In the director's cut, it took until 1 hour and I think 6 minutes. I wrote it down somewhere.
Yeah, that's about right.
But he comes back as the naysayer who does not want... And he's like, this is all bullshit. I don't like it. It's fake. And, he didn't get killed off in the first reel, but he's got less than 20 minutes of footage. So that probably counts. I like to think he was in the Walter Peck role.
So Neil Casey, great incel. Charles Dance,
I loved Charles Dance in this actually. He's Aaron's dean or something in the beginning. He's just he brings that full Tywin Lannister just menace into this, and I loved it.
And then I think we have to mention Benny, just real quick. Benny, Cronsani, Dopinder from Deadpool.
Oh, yes.
I liked him. I think the character was a little, as it went on, kind of like got sucked into the improv-y stuff a little bit, but I did like him initially.
I like it. It's a good running gag.
Yeah,
like it gets kind of lost for like a significant portion of the movie, and then comes back as like a cartoonish payoff at the very end. There.
Yeah. Story. What worked for you for story?
I think, as we mentioned, like the relationship and kind of conflict between Aaron and Abby over the book and their past and everything. I thought that was pretty well written.
I agree. I also liked the tenure angle.
Yeah.
To kind of tackle that, I liked the tenure angle until it was shot in the first 30 minutes. Once she's kicked out of the university.
She jumps a little hard from like, no, this is super important for my tenure, to ghosts are real, I believe in ghosts again. Like it's a very like quick transition, which, given you're covered in like ectoplasmic vomit, like you're probably not thinking very clearly, but still, like, it's a little bit of a breakneck speed change of motivation.
It would have made way more sense for her to be like, as soon as they caught the ghost later in the movie, to be like, I need to get this to my old dean now.
What else for the story worked?
I really liked the change from business angle to research, which I will not give Feig much credit, but that was from the early inception something that carried through. The original Ghostbusters, it was ghosts are real. How do we make money?
It's immediately like, how do we make a dime on this?
Right.
Yeah, it was very, very Reagan era. And then in this one, it was very, Kristen Wiig's character, Erin, wants to be respected by her peers, which I think is a good, and so I brought this up to my wife and she's like, no, you're wrong. But I'm like, I thought that was a nice, like, you always hear about women in STEM, women in these scientific fields always getting pushback. It would make sense that her character, that would be her main motivation, to prove them wrong or to be seen as an equal. So I really dug that.
They also kind of make her a little violent in the extended cut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with her punching Chris Gethard in the face. Yeah.
Which I liked. I liked she was kind of, well, it also explains her freaking out on Bill Murray, because we've seen that behavior before.
Right. Well, it's an extension of her wanting that acceptance and wanting to be taken seriously. Yeah. Like, she, like, despite the fact that like this guy clearly doesn't give a fuck about whether what they've done is real or not, it's like she needs to prove something to him, and that's why she lets the ghost out. But yeah, no, I think that helps. Like, that moment that they added with Chris Gethard getting punched in the face for calling her Ghost Girl, really helps to drive home that characterization. I wish they had kept that in the theatrical cut. Is it's not a whole lot of time to keep that in, and it helps ground that character so much more. I think that really helps. That helps Kristen Wiig. That helps Erin as a character herself, and it helps make more sense out of what happens later in the movie, like why she's separated from the rest of them.
Yeah. Themes. What themes worked? I would like to throw out the beautiful idiot theme. The pretty privileged theme.
God. Chris Hemsworth steals every fucking scene that he's in this movie.
Him and Holtzman, scene stealers.
Well, because Holtzman's not actually an idiot. She's just an eccentric genius on the weird fringe side of things. Chris Hemsworth is Kevin is legitimately a fucking idiot,
but a pretty idiot.
All right, I have to call out my favorite Holtzman moment, because it's not funny at all. It's when, and because this is what made her real for me, because I love Kate McKinnon. My wife's not happy about it, but
I think she's safe.
I know. She doesn't return any of my letters. My wife, not McKinnon. So there's. Because you got anyway. So there's this moment when Abby is possessed and takes a crowbar to the wall of gadgets, and you just see Kate, my babies, and charge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, that's it. That's the
hesitation.
character. I loved it. Like that made her a real. At no point did I think she was a person until then.
Really?
I thought she was a cartoon.
Okay.
She kind of is a little bit, but I also I like that from Kate McKinnon because she's always fun when she's a cartoon. But I agree. I really appreciated that as a grounding moment for her. It's like, again, it's just like cementing her actions in this universe as realistic, if ridiculous.
I think in general, this version of Ghostbusters is a little higher heightened reality, more so than the original ones were.
Oh yeah.
I liked that I could imagine running into Winston. I liked the plane conversation. I've talked about the scene in Ghostbusters 1 where they're in the car just like talking over the bridge a number of times. That's just one of my favorite scenes in any movie.
The moment between Ray and Winston. Yeah. Excellent fucking scene.
But that would have been so out of place in this movie.
Yeah, this movie is not nearly as grounded as those ones in that sense. Yeah, I agree. That would have felt out of place. Though I kind of want to frame a picture of Chris Hemsworth holding up the pictures of him with the saxophones and just put it somewhere in my house.
I think you just told us you want a picture of Chris Hemsworth in your house. You want 3 pictures of Chris Hemsworth in your house.
I said I want 3. It's just shy of a Chris Hemsworth 3 Chris Hemsworth moon, but
I'm not sure if it worked or not, but I want to throw out that they do kind of sort of tackle toxic masculinity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say kind of sorta. It is essentially the villain of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they went back to do part of the reshoots was to incorporate the YouTube comments.
Yes.
And there were actual real ones in there.
I genuinely liked that they did that. That was a good moment.
Do we think that they do it well? Because I feel like they present it, but I'm not sure if they really have any commentary on it other than, that sucks. That's a thing.
It's a little face value-y, I guess. It is presented. It's not really given much of an actual critique in the in the text of the film or in the subtext of the film. It's just this bad.
Yeah.
Which it sucks. Yeah.
So there was, and I'll probably talk about this a little bit later, but just real quick, during the controversy when the trailer came out and everything, one of the things that was pointed out was there was a YouTuber, Comic Girl, who did reviews and everything. And she came out and very blatantly said, I'm not interested in this movie because it's... I'm not even going to try and quote, but it was essentially her, where she was going, I'm not a fan because everything I see in this is not equality. It is men dumb.
I always get...
and she was hoping for more of a mixed team than just, here's all ladies.
Yeah.
It's a tough line.
I always get a little bit wary of takes like that from a trailer because you're not getting the full narrative from the trailer. It's a little presumptuous to read that much from a trailer specifically, but it did kind of bear out that way. With the exception, I don't think it's actually men dumb. Like Kevin dumb.
Kevin dumb.
Kevin dumb.
Mayor dumb. Mayor dumb, ex-boyfriend dumb, Benny can't figure out wontons.
I really feel like...
Well, is that on him or is that on the restaurant?
True.
I think he is the restaurant.
He can't just be the restaurant. He's a delivery boy.
Yeah. I kind of feel like... And I also... God, this might be a can of worms. I kind of feel like this is the same for the original as well. All of them are dumb. The only one that's not kind of up their own ass
is Winston. Yeah.
And that kind of is still true for the what's the character's name in this? The subway worker.
Patty.
Yeah. That's a kind of true, but it's a little. She plays a little bit more SNL because SNL.
Because 3/4 of this main cast are SNL alums.
Whereas Ernie Hudson played it pretty straight.
Yeah.
And I love that. So OG Ghostbusters, everyone kind of dumb.
True.
And
I love
dumb.
Leslie Jones in this, by the way, just because we finally mentioned her. This is my favorite thing she's done. Like, Leslie Jones, she might be my MVP for this one.
I do very much enjoy her in this. I don't think I would say it's my favorite thing that she's done though, because I also really like what they're doing with her in Our Flag Means Death. But
her playing the straight person against the, multitude of other personalities. That was one of my laugh out loud moments when it was like over there near like the crazy sparking thing. What was it? Honey, if I knew what it was, I wouldn't call it crazy sparking thing.
Crazy sparking thing.
That line was very good, and I did laugh. I don't know that she plays Patty very straight, though.
In comparison.
In comparison, yes.
I laughed so hard at the moment where her and Melissa McCarthy are just ripping on Kristen Wiig's boyfriend.
Okay, that is pretty good. Yeah,
making fun of the way he dances. I think when Melissa McCarthy said, "Honey, if you take that V-neck off, there's another V-neck underneath it," I died. I fucking died. One of my favorite lines I've ever heard Melissa McCarthy deliver. Just,
and then we get Kevin wearing a V-neck.
We do get Kevin wearing a V-neck after that.
All right, let's scoot down. So we're kind of already there now. Well, okay, really quick, I do want to say that what I liked about the production is the video effects were really cool. Like the ghost, I thought the ghosts were really, really cool.
The ghosts themselves, I think, were very well designed. I thought that was a very cool presentation.
I think this might be my favorite, like at home 3D. How they had them break out of the letterbox.
The first time I watched it, it was really off-putting for me, but it didn't bother me this time. Like I'm not sure like what
I missed that.
Yeah, because all like it creates, like, especially like moments where it creates like a greater sense of depth. Mm-hmm. Like I think when they're about to start crossing the streams, how they kind of get that pan across all of them, and it's only when you get to like whoever's standing on the end that their stream breaks the letterbox.
Yep.
It's fascinating. It's a really interesting aesthetic choice.
So I watched it on Amazon, and I wonder if it's not the same version, because I don't remember any. I don't even remember there being bars.
Really?
I mean, there probably were, but I don't remember them being broken. Which I feel like I would notice that.
Oh, it was so jarring the first time I watched this that it was like, why the fuck would you even do that? But then this time I watched it, I was like, oh, actually, I'm kind of enjoying it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. The first time when the Aldrich ghost does it, it's like, because it's like slime coming at you. But yeah, like you said, when you see it with like the particle streams, just like popping out a little bit, even just the sparks falling was a really nice touch.
Yeah, the moments where it comes across a little more subtly, I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Who in the cast did not work for you?
I mean, we didn't specifically mention Kristen Wiig working, but I wouldn't say she doesn't work.
I think she's Kristen Wiig.
Yeah,
I think she does a good job of being Kristen Wiig.
She does a good job of being Kristen Wiig, which I think that may be more of like a writing issue than a Kristen Wiig issue. If there's like again, like her tenure struggle, I really like the struggle with her and Abby. I really like. And I wish they had included more of like her background like they did in the extended cut. But like aside from that, like when she gets, I don't know, a little workplace sexual harassment toward Kevin.
Yeah.
Just like,
I don't think that her character was interesting enough to drive the story.
Not on her own.
After like the first act, I'm like, okay, you're just there now. I don't like Melissa McCarthy's humor, so I wasn't a fan of her outside of the moments where we're talking about them as tense friends.
I'd say this is one of the things I've enjoyed more of Melissa McCarthy's, but it's not my favorite of Melissa McCarthy's work.
Minor character, someone who really like, I like him in a lot of things, but just didn't do it for me. Zach Woods.
I actually loved him. I forgot to even mention him.
Who was he?
He's the tour guide in the very opening scene. I liked him. Yeah, the lanky tour guide giving his ridiculous descriptions of all these things. I love him. I love him so much.
What about him clanged for you, Toaster?
I think maybe it was just a lot. Well, apparently that's him doing a lot of, again, just improvising.
That's his wheelhouse, yeah.
Yeah, some of that just fell a little flat for me. I thought the shots, maybe it's not even him, maybe it's just the way he was shot, because a lot of it lingered in ways that kind of took away from what could have been a scary moment. And
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's because in the original, I don't want to compare, so I'm not even going to go that way. But when they're trying to set the tone, they can't. Maybe this is a great like capsule for it. They don't know what they're doing because you've got like this actor like riffing and making jokes and the jokes aplenty or whatever it is, like blended in with the movie for me now, where he's like, and this was the music room where they had a Steinway piano and this, that, the other thing, violin, and then a Jew trumpet, which was actually a regular trumpet. We just think they bought it from a Jew.
I don't recall that joke.
Buddy.
Oh, and then all of a sudden you have that twist where it's like they're trying to set that eerie tone, but then he's clashing with it so much so that by the time you make it to the Aldrich basement, I don't know if I should be laughing or scared, because I actually really love that effect.
No, that's a fair point. There is some tonal whiplash in there because, like, while like I personally love hearing him riff about how like how Lord Aldridge like force his way onto an escape boat like in front of women and children and all that. Like that was like this is a fun bit, but like tonally it is a little weird.
Could have had like one or two jokes from the tour guide without losing the tone.
Maybe I'm misattributing dislike of him to dislike of the tone.
Could be.
Or lack thereof.
They could have cut maybe half of the jokes about him soiling himself.
God.
Yes.
Yeah. That didn't need to go on as long as it as long as it did.
So in the theatrical cut, it did not. They made like one or two Dookie jokes and that was it. In the extended, they really thought that's what people showed up for.
Hammered it home for some reason. Like it really that was like the one downside of the extended cut. Is like some of those bits go on just too long.
No.
Let me know if you agree. Sample? You kind of like
that line was pretty good.
Like it. And Toaster, let me know if this holds true for Afterlife as well, because I don't remember the movie really. The first two Ghostbusters had legitimately scary moments in it. Mm-hmm. I remember having multiple nightmares, specifically from the second one. Them walking the subway tracks was one.
The heads on
the
pikes.
bathtub, the heads on pikes.
Yeah. That messed with me as a kid.
God. Do
the
they
chair
have any
scene in the first one? In Afterlife, there's some more tense moments, but I don't think there's anything I'd put on that level of peril. Yeah, like it's more like
his eyeballs. The like
what's
ray. I just remembered the image of Janusz. He like visits Dana's apartment.
Oh, when his eyes turn into like floodlights, and he's just walking down the hallway really slowly. Oh, that freaked me out. That still freaks me out a little bit. Oh.
Anyway, sorry. Afterlife. I'm gonna have nightmares again tonight.
So Afterlife, I can't think of anything scary. But again, I watched that as an adult, so it's not going to hit me the same. I mean, the opening scene is pretty tense. There's one or two bits like I don't want to give too much away since you guys haven't seen it. It's much more about. I'd say it's more like kids in peril is the fear for that one.
Okay.
Versus any kind of overt. There's no monster scares. There's no jump. There's no hands coming out of anything. It was
no
pretty.
No pervert chairs.
No pervert chairs that we know of. After you watch it, let me know. There's one moment where it's like, that's a child. And not the way you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab a copy of this.
Yeah. You'll love it. The character's name is Podcast. It works. I don't know how they make it work, but it works.
It's like that feels like a thing you would write as a joke about a bad movie.
I will tell you, they're like, why do they call you Podcast? Because I have a podcast.
Well, I honestly don't know what I was expecting.
What about this story did not work for you? We've kind of already started talking about it. For me, it felt like a remix of Ghostbusters 1 and 2, as far as like the story beats.
Kind of. Yeah, because you have like the like the old hotel that's kind of like the epicenter of the supernatural event.
I'm going to refer to my buddy Nate and I watched this with my friend Chris Egbert over the weekend. He told me I could name him.
Neat.
He nailed it. There's no story because there's no connective tissue. It is, here's a bit, then we're going to go over here, here's a bit about somebody else. And then here's another bit. Because it goes from here, okay, so here's that first scene. All right, that kind of ties into that's essentially the call to action to get the 3 Ghostbusters at the time there, with the Aldrich scare. But after that, there's no connective tissue between scenes. It's so jarring to watch.
Yeah, they do just kind of move from event to event to event, like set piece to set piece. Like it's not really until they actually start going after
Rowan.
What was the bad guy's name? Rowan.
Mm-hmm.
Rowan. Yeah, well, it's not until they're actually on to Rowan that things start to really come together. It feels like you get the visual tie-ins of like the weird like cyclotron device that pops up at every location, but like. It's a seed that pays off later, but doesn't really serve as connective tissue in and of itself.
Right, and like the Ghostbusters don't know what they're following. They know there's a weird device. Right. They didn't find it at the Aldrich mansion.
No,
they found it in the subway, and then it wasn't until the concert they found another. They're like, "Oh, that's weird," which I guess did kind of lead to the ley lines. They're not very good at their jobs. Yeah.
The ley lines, get brought up way too late. Yeah, they that should have been something that was seeded much earlier, at least for audience benefit. You have that first cyclotron as kind of like a bit of dramatic irony that like we know about it, but the characters don't. Why couldn't the ley lines have had something like that?
Also, and this is a small thing for me, it should not have been Erin who figured out the ley lines. That should have been Patty. That should have been her moment. Patty's the one who knows New York. Why does Erin know all of these addresses and the history behind the buildings? That should have been Patty's call.
I 100% agree. That should have been Patty putting that piece together. Yeah, that would have worked. Oh, that would have been good.
Right? Instead, she's just, my uncle has a car and I got us some jumpsuits.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because she's mentioned something about architecture earlier on in the movie, if I remember correctly, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she clearly has the knowledge of the of that area. Like, why not have her do that?
That was what they present her as, the person who's bringing that to the Ghostbusters, the history of the city, and then they drop it.
Yep. Right. She's supposed to be like the every person, like the lay person. But the thing about lay people is like they are ingrained in a community and they know they learn and know its history and its ins and outs. Like she would have that ingrained familiarity with that part of Manhattan or that part of New York.
It could have been the lay person that found the ley lines.
Ah, there it is.
And that about covers it for this episode. Any final thoughts on...
there is one final thought that's been kicking around the back of my head. We forgot a cameo, actually. The lead singer of the metal band at the concert, that's Harold Ramis's son.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Not the lead singer.
Not the lead singer? I thought it was the lead singer.
Let me double check that, because it wasn't... Was it David Ramis?
He
is there. Yeah. He is there, but I don't think he's the singer. The singer is a... character actor.
Oh, I could have swore.
Because I looked him up too. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong about several things in my life.
But Harold Ramis's child is in there somewhere.
He's in that scene. Yes. He's in that setting somewhere.
I mean, I do like that they try to incorporate that.
Yep, it was Adam Ray. That is unless that is Ramis, in which oh, maybe it could be. Maybe that's his stage name.
Oh, maybe.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Do we think this movie deserved the hate and accolades or accolades? Because we're talking about two different cuts.
I think like theatrically, maybe the accolades, like the nominations for from the what was the group again?
The Alliance of women of journalism, film journalism.
Yeah, like I think those accolades, sure, I can understand that. The weird sexist fanboy hate, no, I don't think it deserved that whatsoever. But
that's kind of where I fell as well. Is I don't think it's a very good movie.
Yeah,
but I don't think it deserved even a little bit of the internet hate that it received.
Yeah, like it's fine. Right, like it's not a particularly great movie. It has its moments. Yeah. It has its flaws. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
It's very middle of the road.
It's very middle of the road. Yeah,
it deserves all the hate it gets, not for the feminine portion, but for the wet fart that it happened to be. Now, we've referred to the internet hate several times, and I'm waiting for a bit to drop this. This might come later.
This will be in episode 2.
Okay.
We'll talk about the internet hate.
Okay.
Because we are now at the conclusion of part 1 to Ghostbusters 2016. Answer your phone. The call is coming from inside the house. Oh, God. Joe, where can they find us?
Thank you for listening, everybody. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. As we said earlier, please rate and review the show everywhere you possibly can. Podchaser, Good Pods. That helps people find us. It helps more people have fun with what we're talking about here and engage with more movies and whatnot. If you're looking to find us on social media, you can find us on Facebook at DeRazzled Podcast, on Instagram and TikTok at DeRazzled_podcast, and Twitter and Blue Sky at DeRazzled Pod. They're talking about potentially charging people to use Twitter, apparently, and if that happens, we will not be there anymore. You'll find us on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
And of course, if you have any questions about the show, things you'd like to see covered, or the unofficial Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival, email us at DeRazzledPodcast@gmail.com, and we are happy to engage in any way, shape, or form and answer any questions there. Or if you just want to send us a film you want us to screen at the festival, do that with Willem Dafoe in the subject line.
All those things and more in our podcast.
Yes.
Hey, you should probably join us next time.
Whereas always,
we'll
be sure to razzle dazzle you. Somebody had to fucking say it. Jesus.
I was watching Matt's mouth kind of like open and close, just like not sure. I was like, "You gonna do it? No,
am I allowed to? I'm a guest. I don't know if I can do it.
You're supposed to.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, so
not now. It's too late.
Right. Well, I'll try the next one. I'm sorry.
We'll get you in part 2. All right. We'll be sure to razzle dazzle you. See you next week.